What happens when Hollywood royalty meets daytime television sweetheart and it all goes horribly, catastrophically wrong? In just 33 seconds, one comment would shatter the carefully constructed image of Grace and turn a friendly interview into the most explosive television moment of the year. The studio lights were bright that afternoon. Kelly Clarkson sat across from her guest, ready to have what she thought would be a pleasant conversation. The audience was packed, excited to see someone they'd heard so much about. Everything seemed normal at first. Kelly had that warm smile she's known for, the one that makes every guest feel welcome and comfortable. "I'm so excited to have you here today," Kelly said, her voice full of genuine enthusiasm. "We've been looking forward to this for weeks." Meghan settled into her chair, smoothing down her outfit with a practiced gesture. "Well, I'm here now," she replied, her tone already carrying an edge that made a few audience members glance at each other. Kelly, ever the professional, pushed forward with her first question. "So, let's talk about your recent projects. You've been working on some really interesting things." "Interesting is one word for it," Meghan said, crossing her legs and leaning back. "Though I'm not sure everyone has the sophistication to truly understand what I'm trying to accomplish." There was a pause. Kelly's smile flickered for just a moment, but she recovered quickly. "Well, why don't you help us understand? That's what we're here for." "Where do I even start with an audience like this?" Meghan said, gesturing vaguely toward the crowd. A few people in the audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Kelly maintained her composure, though her eyes showed a flash of something, confusion maybe, or concern. "An audience like what?" she asked, her voice still friendly but with a slight firmness creeping in. "You know," Meghan said, waving her hand dismissively, "regular people. They don't really get the pressures of living in the public eye at my level. No offense to you, of course, Kelly. You're just a singer." The audience gasped. Actually, gasped. You could hear it ripple through the studio like a wave. Kelly's eyebrows went up, and she let out a small laugh, the kind you make when you're not sure if someone is joking or if you heard them correctly. "Just a singer?" Kelly repeated, still smiling, but her voice had changed. It was tighter now. "Well, I suppose that's one way to describe a 3-time Grammy winner and someone who's been doing this for over 20 years. "Don't be so sensitive," Meghan said, examining her nails. "I'm simply saying that what I deal with is on a completely different level. You wouldn't understand the scrutiny, the constant pressure of being watched every single second." Kelly leaned forward slightly. "Actually, I've been in the public eye since I was 20 years old. I think I might have some idea about scrutiny and pressure." "It's not the same thing at all," Meghan insisted, her voice rising slightly. "You chose this life by going on a talent show. I was thrust into royalty. There's a difference between earning fame and being born into significance." The audience was dead silent now. Every single person was watching this unfold, unable to look away. Kelly's producer was probably having a heart attack in the control room. This was not going according to plan, not even close. Kelly took a breath, and you could see her making a choice. She could let it go, move on, keep things professional, or she could stand up for herself. "Actually, you weren't born into royalty either," Kelly said, her voice calm but firm. "And I worked incredibly hard to get where I am. I think everyone in this audience has worked hard in their lives too." The audience erupted in applause. They clapped and cheered for their host, the woman who'd always been real with them, who'd never acted like she was better than anyone. Meghan's face changed. Her eyes narrowed. "Are you really going to let them clap like that? This is so disrespectful. Do you have any control over your own show?" "They're allowed to react however they want," Kelly said. "That's kind of the point of a live studio audience. They're people with opinions." "Well, their opinions are wrong," Meghan snapped. "And frankly, I'm starting to question whether this show was even worth my time. I have much more important things I could be doing." Kelly's face was still friendly, but her eyes had gone steely. "Then maybe you should go do those things." Another gasp from the audience. This was unprecedented. Kelly Clarkson, the warmest host on television, was essentially telling her guests to leave. "Excuse me?" Meghan said, sitting up straighter. "What did you just say to me?" "I said," Kelly repeated, slower this time, "maybe you should go do those more important things, because if you're not going to be respectful to me, to my crew, and to these wonderful people who took time out of their day to be here, then I don't see the point in continuing this conversation." Meghan laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was sharp and bitter. "You can't talk to me like that. Do you know who I am?" "I do," Kelly said. And right now, you're a guest on my show who's being incredibly rude. I've been doing this long enough to know when someone is here for the right reasons and when they're not. The right reasons? Meghan's voice was getting louder. I came here as a favor to you. Your ratings probably need the boost. You should be thanking me for even showing up. The audience started booing, actually booing. Some people were shaking their heads. Others had their mouths hanging open in disbelief. Kelly raised her hand to quiet them down, and they immediately stopped. That's the kind of respect she commanded. I'm going to ask you one more time to be respectful, Kelly said, her voice steady and clear. We can have a great conversation if you're willing to actually engage. But I won't sit here and let you insult me, my show, or these people. Oh, please, Meghan scoffed. You're being ridiculous. This is exactly the kind of treatment I was talking about. Everyone is so threatened by me that they can't handle a little bit of honesty. Honesty? Kelly's voice rose slightly, the first real crack in her composure. You've called me just a singer, dismissed my entire career, insulted my audience, and suggested we should be grateful you're here. That's not honesty. That's just being mean. Meghan stood up abruptly, her microphone nearly falling off. I don't have to sit here and take this. This is outrageous. Wait until people hear about how I was treated here. They're going to hear exactly what happened, Kelly said, standing up as well. Because this is all being recorded. Every word, every insult, every dismissive comment. You wouldn't dare air this, Meghan said, pointing at Kelly. Your producers won't let you. It would make you look bad. Kelly smiled, and it was genuine this time. I think the footage will speak for itself. I've been nothing but welcoming since you sat down. You're the one who decided to act like being here was beneath you. This is insane, Meghan said, looking around as if expecting someone to come to her defense. No one moved. The audience just stared. Someone get me out of here. Where's my team? This is completely unacceptable. The door's right there, Kelly said, gesturing calmly toward the exit. You're welcome to leave any time you want. Meghan's face was red now, her carefully maintained composure completely shattered. You're going to regret this. Do you have any idea what kind of connections I have? What I could do to your little show? Kelly crossed her arms, completely unbothered. Are you threatening me? On camera? On my own show? I'm not threatening anyone, Meghan backpedaled slightly. I'm just saying that actions have consequences. You can't just treat people like this. You're absolutely right, Kelly agreed. Actions do have consequences. And the action of coming onto someone's show and acting superior to everyone around you has the consequence of being asked to leave. A producer appeared from the side of the stage, looking extremely uncomfortable. Meghan turned to him desperately. You're going to let her do this? You're going to let her kick me off? The producer looked at Kelly, then back at Meghan. Ma'am, I think it might be best if we take a break. A break? Meghan's voice was shrill now. I don't want a break. I want an apology. She owes me an apology. Kelly let out a laugh, a real one this time, though there was no humor in it. I owe you an apology? For what exactly? For embarrassing me in front of all these people? Meghan gestured wildly at the audience. For not controlling your audience? For being completely unprofessional. I've been nothing but professional, Kelly said, her voice rising to match Meghan's volume. You came in here with an attitude from the very first question. You've been condescending, rude, and dismissive. I gave you multiple chances to reset and have a normal conversation. You chose not to take them because you don't deserve my respect. Meghan shot back, and the audience collectively gasped again. You're a nobody who got lucky on a singing competition. I've lived a life you couldn't even imagine. Kelly's jaw tightened. Okay, we're done here. Security, please escort her out. Security? Meghan looked around frantically. You're calling security on me? This is absolutely insane. I'm the victim here. 2 security guards appeared, looking just as uncomfortable as the producer had. They approached Meghan carefully, professionally. Ma'am, we need you to come with us, one of them said quietly. Don't touch me, Meghan snapped, jerking away from them. I'll leave on my own. I don't need your help. Great, Kelly said, sitting back down in her chair. Have a nice day. Meghan stared at her, seemingly unable to believe this was actually happening. You're really doing this. You're really kicking me off. You kicked yourself off, Kelly corrected. I just opened the door for you. This will be all over the news, Meghan warned, her voice shaking slightly. Everyone will know about this. Good, Kelly said simply. Let them know. Let them see exactly what happened here today. Meghan looked at the audience one more time, perhaps hoping to find some support there. But every face looked back at her with disappointment or disapproval. No one was on her side. Not a single person. "You'll all regret this," she said, her final attempt at maintaining some dignity. "Every single one of you. Bye," Kelly said, waving. The audience started clapping, tentatively at first, then louder and louder as Meghan turned and stormed toward the exit. As she reached the edge of the stage, Meghan spun around one more time. "By the way, your show is boring. Your questions are basic. And your audience is full of simple-minded people who wouldn't know real class if it hit them in the face." The booing started again, even louder this time. Kelly stood up, walked to the front of the stage, and looked directly at Meghan. "And yet you agreed to come here, which says more about you than it does about us." Meghan opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again, but no words came out. She'd finally run out of insults, out of defenses, out of ways to justify her behavior. With one final huff, she turned and walked off the stage, her heels clicking loudly in the stunned silence that followed. The security guards followed behind her at a respectful distance. The audience watched her disappear through the exit, and then they turned back to Kelly, who was still standing at the front of the stage. For a long moment, nobody said anything. Kelly looked out at her audience, at the people who'd been with her through years of shows, who'd laughed with her and cried with her and supported her through everything. Then she smiled, that genuine Kelly Clarkson smile that everyone loved. "Well," she said, and a few people in the audience laughed nervously. That was something. The laughter grew, spreading through the crowd like a release of tension. Kelly laughed too, shaking her head in disbelief. "I want to apologize to all of you. You came here expecting a fun show, and instead you got a masterclass in how not to be a talk show guest. We love you, Kelly." Someone shouted from the audience, and others joined in with cheers and applause. Kelly's eyes got a little misty. "I love you guys too, and I want you to know that I will always stand up for myself, for my team, and for all of you. Nobody gets to come in here and disrespect what we've built together." The applause was thunderous now. People were standing, cheering, some of them wiping away tears. Kelly had turned what could have been a disaster into a moment of connection, of solidarity. "Here's the thing," Kelly continued, once the noise had died down a bit. "I've been in this industry for a long time. I've met all kinds of people, some wonderful, some not so much. But I've learned that kindness matters, respect matters. And treating people like they're less than you, that's never okay. Not in my studio." More applause. Kelly waited for it to quiet down before continuing. "I know some people might think I should have just smiled and nodded and let it go. But I'm from Texas. We don't really do that. If someone's being rude, you call it out. You stand your ground." "That's right." Several audience members called out. "I also want to say something to anyone watching this who might be going through something similar in their own lives," Kelly said, her voice softer now. "Whether it's at work, at school, in your family, wherever, you don't have to accept being treated poorly. You have the right to stand. Come up for yourself. You have the right to say this isn't okay and mean it." The audience was quiet now, hanging on every word. Kelly had transformed the moment from drama into something meaningful, something real. "I'm not going to pretend that wasn't uncomfortable," Kelly admitted, "because it was. Very uncomfortable, but sometimes doing the right thing is uncomfortable. Sometimes standing up for yourself means creating a scene, and that's okay. It's better to create a scene than to sit there and take abuse." She paused, looking around the studio at all the faces looking back at her. "I also want to thank my incredible team, who I know were probably freaking out in the control room." She looked toward the cameras. "You guys okay back there?" A thumbs up appeared from someone off camera, and the audience laughed. The tension in the room had completely shifted. What had been shock and discomfort was now something closer to pride. Pride in their host. Pride in themselves for supporting her. "So here's what we're going to do," Kelly announced. "We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have the show we were supposed to have. We've got an amazing singer coming out who's just the sweetest person you'll ever meet. We've got a chef who's going to make something delicious. And we're going to remember why we love doing this show." The audience applauded again as Kelly smiled at them, because at the end of the day, this show is about joy. It's about connecting with people. It's about celebrating the good stuff in life. And I refuse to let one person's bad attitude ruin that for the rest of us. As the cameras cut and the stage crew bustled around preparing for the next segment, Kelly stayed on stage. shaking hands with audience members in the front row, thanking them for their support. Her team surrounded her, making sure she was okay. But Kelly was more than okay. She was energized. "That was intense," her producer said, approaching her carefully. "Are you sure you want to air this?" Kelly looked at him with absolute certainty in her eyes. "Every second of it. People need to see that it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to stand up for yourself even when the other person is famous or important or whatever. It's going to cause a lot of talk," the producer warned. "Good," Kelly said firmly. "Let people talk. Let them see what really happened. I have nothing to hide. I was respectful until I couldn't be anymore. And even then, I was more respectful than she was." The makeup artist touched up Kelly's face while the hairstylist fixed a few strands that had come loose during the confrontation. Kelly sat still, but her mind was clearly racing, processing what had just happened, thinking about what it meant, what the fallout might be. "You okay?" the makeup artist asked quietly. Kelly nodded. "Yeah, I'm good. I mean, my heart's still pounding, but I'm good." "You handled that like a total professional," the hairstylist chimed in. "She was so out of line." "She was," Kelly agreed. "But you know what? I feel bad for her. I really do. Because she clearly has some issues she needs to work through. The way she talked about people, the way she saw herself as above everyone else, that's not healthy. That's not happy." "You're nicer than I would be," the makeup artist said. "I'd be furious." "Oh, I am furious," Kelly laughed. "But I can be furious and still recognize that hurt people hurt people." She was trying to make herself feel big by making everyone else feel small. That's sad. The stage manager called out that they had 2 minutes until they were back on air. Kelly took a deep breath, rolled her shoulders back, and prepared to continue with the show. The next guest was already waiting in the wings, looking nervous after witnessing what had just happened. Kelly caught her eye and walked over. "Hey, don't worry. That was a one-time thing. You're going to be great." The guest, a young singer who'd just released her first album, smiled nervously. "I promise I'll be nice." Kelly laughed. "Just be yourself. That's all I ever want from my guests. Be real, be honest, be kind. That's it." As the cameras started rolling again and Kelly took her place back on stage, the audience welcomed her with a standing ovation. She hadn't even said anything yet, but they were already on their feet, showing their support, their love, their appreciation for a host who valued them as much as they valued her. Okay, Kelly said, gesturing for them to sit down, but she was grinning ear to ear. "You guys are going to make me cry, and we just fixed my makeup." The audience laughed and settled back into their seats, the energy in the room completely different now. It was warm again, friendly again, fun again, everything a talk show should be. "All right," Kelly said, clapping her hands together. "Let's do what we do best. Let's have some fun."